G'day, FIDE Master Johnny Curtis. Have I got a really good game for you? I'm playing the white pieces here. Played a few minutes ago. My rating is 22-10. My opponent's rating is his name was Cukierm. He's 22-49, and as you can see, he's from Brazil. Anyway, it's not a really high-rated game from the point of the review factor. It says I only played at 76.6%. Now, it has rated me low because I made a few inaccuracies in the opening. It says my opponent played at 59.5%. That's a bit rough. I see my opponent's nearly 2250 in strength. So something's wrong here, right? But it's really worth having a look at this game because for my students out there, this teaches you how to, I think it teaches you how to think of ideas on how to whip up an attack in certain positions. So that's why I'm showing you this game, okay? Right, so pay attention. I'm going to ask you a few questions at the end and see if you can navigate your way through the position and what ideas you might come up with in the game. And you can tell me too in the notes on the YouTube video because I'm always interested in reading what people have to say, and I usually always reply if someone puts a note in there. So there we go. So here we go. We'll get on with the game. E4, C5, all book moves, knight F3, E6, D4. So we're still in the book, so we're going all right. The bar on the side of the board is giving us an even game. A6, so he's choosing a Sicilian defence, a can knight variation. Playing knight C3 as a book move. D6, another book move. So we're still in theory. Bishop D3 is a book move. B5, now there's a book move too. And now castle's another book move. So we are playing pretty accurately, and the engine's been kind to us. It's given us a small advantage, as you can see by the bar on the side of the board. He played Bishop B7 question mark, and now it's up to me to find a good way to repay him for making what the engine thinks is a bad move. But I played F4 instead. It says I overlooked an opportunity to threaten winning material. God, I don't know how. But to show the line, well, we'll have a look. It says, oh, there you go. It says Queen to E2. Oh, Queen to E2 threatening bishop takes pawn check. Okay, we'll go back. So in this position here, I played F4. What I actually should play is Queen to E2, which threatens bishop takes pawn check, and if pawn takes back, Queen takes check, and the bishop falls. Is that cunning? Computers are cunning, aren't they, guys? Alright then, so that's what the engine said. I played F4, and now he played knight B5 to D7. He's still, I noticed he still had his king side a bit all blocked up. He hasn't, it takes him 1, 2, at least 3 moves to castle. Right, so I decided to put my king in the corner. So there's no checks along this long diagonal because they're usually a pain in the butt if you try to attack. And remember, this is a 3 minutes plus 2 second game, right? 3 minutes plus 2 second increments. So he played rook c8, double question mark, and I thought, oh, hello, his king's still in the middle. He hasn't got his pieces out yet. Might be time to do something. So I played a bullshit move, a3. I was actually worried about him pushing the pawn on my knight. How stupid is that, eh? I realise this when the engine tells me that it's stupid. Okay, so we all make stupid moves, right? We'll get past that and move on with the game. Knight to f6. He's played a good move. It's inaccuracy according to the engine. It's not the right idea. I wonder what the right idea here would be. It says the right idea would be probably to cry. And knight c5 is probably all right too. Knight g5 to e7, something like that. Anyway, he played knight f6. Played queen e1. I thought, I've seen Karpov in games in the past. The back of this old man's memory is pictures of Karpov playing e5. And I think, I've got to play e5. Karpov did that in these types of positions, but in these types of positions, but not exactly the same position. Anyway, he played bishop e7, exclamation mark, because now he's preparing to castle. He solved that problem. See, he's 22.49, nearly 22.50 in rating. So he's no bunny. He is a good player, higher rated than me. I'm only on 22.10. So I played e5 and I got the star move for it. So remember, my pattern recognition told me that these types of positions Karpov used to play. And sure enough, the engine agrees it's a good move. He played knight to d5. Gee, look at the bar on the side of the board. At the moment, black's got an advantage. And now suddenly, after he plays knight here, white's winning. Amazing, isn't it? Eh? And you know what? My gut feeling was telling me I got COVID, right? I think I got COVID or some other thing. Anyway, a throat infection. And that's why I can't stream on Twitch at the moment. I can't talk for too long. Anyway, it doesn't stop me talking there, does it? Right, so in this position, I thought to myself, I've got to try to attack somehow. And I'm thinking, well, if he just plays knight takes knight, he's going to bust me pawns and slow my attack down. So then I noticed that if I take this pawn here, like pawn takes d pawn, pawn takes pawn, I'm threatening his bishop. And his bishop comes out, then suddenly there's an open line to his king. And I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. I might have something here. But first I thought, I'll just solve the problem of this knight and take this rotten knight off. And the engine says, bad move. Thank you, Mr. Engine. So I thought I'd do that first, but I could see that there was a little bit of a trick there, right? Anyway, the engine says, and this is a winning move, right? The winning move, according to the engine, is knight to f5, right? Knight to f5. That's the engine's winning move. But I can't see the engine during my 3-minute chess game. So I took the knight, and he took back to the bishop. Then I played knight there anyway, because that was my move, not the engine's move. I came up with that idea. I'll tell you how I came up with this idea here. Remember I noticed that the queen was on the king, okay? And I thought, well, if I could take that pawn off, I'll win the bishop, except the pawn's in the way. So logic tells me give away the knight, and then if he takes the knight, well, then I can take the pawn and we can pinch his bishop, right? And I'm threatening knight takes pawn check. So I thought, that looks all right. That looks very, very entrepreneurial. So let's see what happened as a result of this move. It is from this idea, which the engine said I should have played one move earlier. It is from this idea that beautiful things may occur. And I'm going to ask you what questions. I'll stop for a few seconds, then I'll ask you what move you think you should play, right? Okay, so you played pawn takes knight. So in this move, in this position, what move would you play? Your piece down, you have to get your piece back. Think about it. And you've got a few more seconds than what I had playing a 3-minute chess game. So I'm down to 2 minutes 49 because it was increments. Well, if you said pawn takes pawn, you're absolutely correct. You get your piece back and you get an exclamation mark by the chess.com computer. Okay? Now, I would think that it's probably a good idea to cover his king up at this stage. But let's see what he does. And he does. He covers his king up. So I thought, well, I'll take that bishop. Right? I take that bishop, and then his queen took back. He doesn't want to take with the king. And then I played bishop d2. Simple move, but now that we've opened those central squares up, and we've got this line down here, the whole idea is this black bishop suddenly becomes strong along here, you see, especially if he can't castle. Well, if he castles, he can still play knight c5, and maybe he should castle and play knight c5 and block my strong, powerful bishop. But he makes a mistake. He plays queen d6. So now I play bishop hits queen. Now he should play knight c5, right? Still the best move, knight c5. But he doesn't. He plays queen to d5. He's a bit ambitious, isn't he, right? So I thought, well, I'll play queen to h4. What am I threatening? Think about it. What am I threatening? Can you see a threat? Is white threatening something? Yes. Well, if you saw that the bishop and the queen are combining on that square, threatening checkmate, well, you'd be right. Got one problem, though. The guy's 2,500 rating. Not 2,500, 2250 rating, I should say. It's COVID. I don't know. It might be COVID. It might be just a throat infection. But it feels like COVID. I had COVID before, but it's not quite the same. Right, so I play queen here. Anyway, but this guy sees checkmate and won. He's no banana. So he played knight f6 and blocked off the check. And I thought to myself here, I thought, well, I got my queen on one good square. He can't castle. That's another good thing. You know what I was worried about more than anything else in this position? What would you be worried about in this position if you were white? I'll tell you what, it'd be hard to find what you'd be worried about in this position. But there is something to be worried about. Right? Do you know what it is? It's a real simple move for black. But at 2,250, he just didn't see it. Now, he can't castle, right? So he should be asking himself the question, what is stopping me castling? Right? What is stopping me castling? And the answer to that would be this bishop. So if he attacks the bishop with the pawn, right, and we take the pawn off, he can castle. And he's out of that mess. Okay, it's worth a pawn in open positions to get yourself out of a bleeding awful mess like that, right? So yes, he should play pawn hits bishop. Anyway, I played queen g5. I want to get a bit closer. I want to threaten queen takes pawn. I thought that'll shake him up a little bit if I can get that. Anyway, it wasn't a good move. The engine said, missed an opportunity to pin a piece to the enemy king. Yeah, in other words, when the engine says that, it means put a rook, this rook or this rook, pinning the bishop to the king. And the engine's right, of course. So, rook to g8. And I thought, well, that's a beautiful move. I love that move. You know why? Because he can't castle. Now his king is really picking in the middle. So I played rook on the A file to d1. The machine didn't like it, but I thought, oh, that looks all right. Because in some variations, you might get a discovered attack, right? Anyway, he played h6, and I ran away. Excuse me. He played h6, and then he ran away. I ran away, but I made sure I maintained that pin of the knight, so that we're still got that checkmate down there. So he still can't move his knight next move. Anyway, I played queen to b7. Now his plan is very simple. He wants to get his bishop up here and target my g-pawn, right? So I thought, oh, okay, your king's stuck in the middle, buddy. So I thought, well, I'll play rook here, okay, put my rook on the middle and pin your bishop. So now he's got a rook on g8 that's out of play. He's got his bishops pinned. His knight's pinned against some sort of checkmate system here, right? And his queen's tied down to defending it. So he's only got one piece that's not working. Maybe he should just put the rook on the open file. I don't know. But let's see what he does. He plays knight there. And this is so he's played knight there. What would you think of playing in this type of position, folks? What would you think of playing in this type of position? So he's blocked off the attack by playing knight here. It's supported by the pawn. He's blocked off the attack. He's got the queen. His queen stops that checkmate. So what have I got? What have I got? I've got 6 pawns and he's got 6 pawns. So to all intents and purposes, the position looks fairly equal. It was here that I decided to play an explosive move, and I thought I'm just going to go for it based on general tactics, right? Now I know that if I take the knight off, okay. If I take the knight off, if he takes with the pawn, right? So if I take this knight off, if he takes with the pawn, I can play rook takes pawn, yeah. But he could hit my queen, and then I would no longer be threatening checkmate, and then he'd be able to take my rook. So I thought, I can't do that. I don't want to lose all my pieces. So I decided, I know what I'll do. I'll keep my attack going. So I captured with the rook. Rook takes knight. I'm trying to eliminate his defenders. And more importantly, I'm also trying to open up this file as well. So I'm starting to see a few little things, right? Anyway, so he took the rook off. And now your bishop's attacked. So what do? Do you move your bishop away, or what do you do now with the bishop? Have you got another move? Is there? Do you push a pawn on the bishop? What do you do? Think about it, and you tell me what you would do in this position. Don't forget, the queen's protecting this pawn. So what would you do in this position? You've sacrificed a rook, taken the knight in the middle of the board. So obviously you must have had a plan. If you haven't got a plan, you're dead. You've got 2 minutes and 17 seconds on your clock. All right then, this is the plan. We take the pawn with the bishop. And we get a double exclamation mark. You can't take the bishop because of queen checkmate. Oh. Okay? So you can't do that. All right. So what can he do in this position? Well, he can move his queen. Might be a good idea to move his queen. Anyway, I'll show you what he did. He moved his queen. And the engine says, that's a bad move. It's a mistake. It also says, it's a forced checkmate. I want you to show me how you would checkmate your opponent in this position. Examine all checks and examine all captures. Well, if you said bishop check, you get 2 exclamation marks. Okay? And you would see that if the queen comes in to hold this checkmate here, it's still checkmate. Look, see that? Isn't that pretty? What a lovely checkmate, eh? Come on, put your hands together. That's a lovely checkmate, isn't it? Okay, right. But this never happened. He actually resigned. But now if he puts the bishop in, it's also checkmate, right? Can you see that? It's also checkmate, right, by the queen. So that's But what if the rook takes the bishop? Well, now we have two checkmates. We've got rook checkmate here, bang, right? And we've got queen checkmate here, there. So how many checkmates did we get in that game? Well, I thought that was worth showing you. Certainly shows you a few principles of chess, getting open lines together. I've got to go now. I'm not too well. But I hope you enjoyed that, okay? Bye for now. I'll see you later.